There are calls in Japan for stricter measures nationwide to curb the spread of COVID-19 as the number of infections continues to rise. Although a state of emergency was declared last week in Tokyo and 6 other prefectures, other areas are asking to be included so they can take stricter measures. In just the past month, the number of infections has increased 10 times to around 7,600. Over 200 new cases have been confirmed today, with 91 in Tokyo, which remains the worst-hit region. The capital accounts for more than 2,000 infections. Several prefectures have taken matters into their own hands. Hokkaido has reimposed a state of emergency after lifting restrictions less than a month ago. Fears are growing of a new wave of infections after new cases hit double digits for 5 days straight. Michio Ishida joins us now live from Tokyo for more on this. Michio, what's behind the second wave of infections in Hokkaido, despite its initial success in controlling the outbreak there?
Well, cases of COVID-19 in Hokkaido started to rise. That's 5 days in a row. And the source of infection of the majority of them cannot be traced. So the Hokkaido governor with Sapporo city mayor have decided to issue a joint declaration of a state of emergency to reignite awareness. They asked schools to close, socializing at bars and restaurants to be stopped. Now, the first unilateral state of emergency issued on February 28th seems to have worked because 3 weeks after that, there were 0 cases of COVID-19 in Hokkaido. And that's despite the fact that there is nothing illegal about this state of emergency. It's not binding. There is no punitive measures taken, even though people don't follow the demand. So authorities are hoping that residents will do the same this time.
So, Mitch, what's the difference then between Hokkaido's declaration and the state of emergency declared by Prime Minister Shinzo Abe last week then?
Yes, well, Mr. Abe last week identified 7 prefectures under the state of declaration, emergency declaration, and they are Tokyo, Osaka, Hyogo, Fukuoka, Kanagawa, Chiba, and Saitama. And Mr. Abe formed an emergency package worth 103 trillion yen, which is about 20% of Japan's GDP. And there will be cash handouts to households, to companies that have been affected by the closure or of the calls to stay home. And the small and medium-sized firms can receive up to 2 million yen. And some prefectures have been wanting to receive the same because unless they're part of this state of emergency declaration, they cannot. So, for instance, Aichi and Kyoto have been asking the government to include them. But Aichi, because the central government would not decide to include them, has unilaterally decided to declare last week.
And Michio, what's preventing the central government from imposing a unified restrictions across the country?
Well, Prime Minister Abe issued the declaration, and next it was up to the governors of the prefectures to lay out the details. For instance, many of those people infected in Tokyo are regarded as the younger generation, the people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. And it's believed that clusters were formed in the nightclubs and the bars. So Governor of Tokyo, Yuriko Koike, has been saying that she wanted to close down nightclubs, the bars, the internet cafes, and she wanted to close down barbers as well. Now, we were believing that she would immediately impose the closure, but then the central government stepped in. It decided to interfere. And Ms. Koike explained to reporters that the government did not want a closure to these businesses immediately. They want 2 weeks to take a look, monitor at how the Japanese public would react to this declaration of state of emergency to figure out whether a closure would be really needed. And what analysts have been saying that the central government was afraid that such closures would have a heavy blow on the Japanese economy. But Ms. Koike said that she had no time to wait to monitor. The medical system was really stretched, and the number of COVID-19 cases in Tokyo was growing rapidly. So Ms. Koike has sat down and discussed with the economy minister, Yasutoshi Nishimura, who's in charge of COVID-19. And they came to the conclusion that eateries in Tokyo can stay open until from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. Department stores can open. Only the grocery floors, hair salons, barbers, coffee shops, offices can remain open. Now, other 6 prefectures are in the process of making a decision on what to close, but they are believed not to go to the extent of Tokyo's example, because they do not have a separate subsidy in order to encourage businesses to follow their demand.
Okay, many thanks for that update. Michio Ishida speaking to us from Tokyo.